Conceive, believe, achieve. Shut the f*** up.
You're listening to Believe You Me with Michael the Count Bisping.
You know my name yet?
And Anthony Lionheart Smith.
You good, Herringbone?
I'm golden.
Well, if you're good, if you're golden, then I'm good as well. Welcome to the show, everybody. Believe You Me on a Thursday. Thanks for tuning in wherever you are in the world. Today, we have Brandon Raw Dog Royval. He'll be jumping on in a little bit. Of course, he's main event this weekend. We've also got the one and only Cory Sandhagen, top bantamweight on the planet. He'll be joining us as well. But until then, just for now, it's Harrington and I. We're going to go through some of the news in mixed martial arts. What's going on, Harrington?
Not too much with me personally, but there's plenty going on in the mixed martial arts world, including I don't know if you caught Contender on Tuesday, but yeah,
I did catch it. I was commentating it. I was there, Harrington. I don't know if you caught it. Be honest, did you catch it?
No, I did not.
Yeah, exactly. You moron. I don't know if you called the Contender on Tuesday, Mike, but
it was literally a coin flip whether or not you were commentating on it, and I went for it.
Yeah. I'm the busiest retired man you've ever met. I'm back to Vegas tomorrow. Anyway, yeah, so the reason we're talking about the Contender, which is a great show and a product, by the way, but Artem Vakhitov, he was the last guy to beat Alex Pereira in kickboxing. They went 1-1. They were both really close fights, 10 rounds overall. And he got a first-round stoppage. He was 2-1 in MMA. The first loss wasn't really a loss. It was like a freak injury, 40 seconds into it. I couldn't find it online. Might have rolled his ankle or something crazy. I don't know. His next two fights, he just destroyed them. Anyway, gets a fight on the Contender because you know why. You know what's going on here. There's a storyline. They're going to try and get him. Well, he's going to try and get signed to the UFC. Reel off 4 or 5 impressive victories. And then there it is. A rematch with Alex Pereira. Massive storyline. You know what I mean? And a lot of people would tune in for that fight. You know, and plus and Vakhitov, if he can become the kind of guy that Pereira has, why would you want to sign this guy? Anyway, so he fights this guy from France and he beats him in the first round, but it wasn't the performance that a lot of people expected because the guy just went at him swinging all wild and crazy, where he's a skilled kickboxer, you know what I mean? He's looking for openings and this and that or whatever. The guy made it really sloppy and he took him down a couple of times, but he got back up really quick, to his credit. And when he did get separation, he never went for it, you know, but he did get the stoppage. Once he got a little bit of space, boom, 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 landed a couple of good shots, and that was it, right? So I was like, yeah, sign the guy, of course. But Dana was like, he was kind of on the fence, and he said that Alex Pereira, who was there in the building, front row, spoke to Dana backstage, and he said to Pereira, what do you think? Should we sign him? And this is the thing about Pereira that you've got to admire. He's like, yeah, sign the guy. He deserves it. And it would have been so easy for Pereira to be like, nah, it wasn't what we expected, wasn't what we thought it was going to be. But I got to say, for Pereira to just, and this is a guy that beat him last time in kickboxing, a guy that went 10 rounds, a guy that pushed him to the absolute limit. Both fights were crazy close. They were really close. I even think that Pereira might have got robbed in the second one. But regardless, he vouched for him and helped him get a UFC contract.
Between this and the Izzy thing where he was like, let's train and be friends, like, he might be the nicest guy in MMA. Who saw this shit coming?
Well, Harrington's the nicest guy in MMA.
Fair enough.
That's factually correct.
Yes, it is. What are your thoughts on this, Harrington?
Well, I was going to say, I mean, same thing for, I think it was his name, Carlos Alvarez is another guy who, you know, is a former opponent of Poatan's in kickboxing. Now I think he moved to Connecticut to be the third one in the Glover Poatan and you know, these Brazilian dudes who are all teaming up together to bring striking back to the forefront of MMA. Yeah, I mean, I think it's absolutely incredible. And I think it's a thing where he's kind of building up this cast of like rivals around him and people that he's helping. You know, he's building himself into the lore of so many of these different fighters that it's like, all right, like this dude might actually just cement himself as the top star because so much of this fight game revolves around Alex Pereira right now.
Yeah, and so much of this podcast has revolved around Alex Pereira as well. We talked about him at length on Monday, so we'll leave that there. But I just wanted to start the show giving the guy some props because, again, in the ring, he's unbelievable. Do you know what I mean? And that was just That's the sign of a solid human being. Speaking of human beings, go on.
Can we just give a sorry?
Shout
out to Brian. He put it in the private chat. I don't know if you're a fan of Dragon Ball Z, but this might be the best comp I've ever heard. Alex Pereira. You do it, Brian.
He might be the real life Goku. Every one of his enemies, he's just like, we'll be friends after we fight. Why are we best friends? It's insane. I love it.
The reference is wasted on me. I don't watch Dragon Balls. Okay. In fact, Brian messaged me earlier about something, and he texts back MB, which just happens to be my initials. So I put MB ? He's like, yeah, my bad. I'm like, dude.
I play video games, man.
I'm like, I don't know.
You got a lead speak around here.
MB. I'm like, NP, I've got you. BRB, be right back. But all these acronyms, I don't go in for them. Anyway, Ilia Topuria and Max Holloway, they did a little interview, a sit down with Brendan Fitzgerald yesterday. I'll tell you what, I mean, that fight card in Saudi Arabia is going to be ridiculous. Top to bottom, the main card's phenomenal. Did I say Saudi Arabia? Do Abu Dhabi, sorry, pardon me, just down the street. But Topuria, once again, just talking mad shit. You know, it blows my mind because, I mean, I love it. It's great. But like the confidence of this man is just on the next level. I mean, Max Holloway, we know how good he is. I'm assuming Topuria, it's because of his self-belief. Also because he knocked out Volkanovski, who Volkanovski beat Max Holloway 3 times, you know, and he just thinks his level's above. He said, you've already got 7 losses on your record, Max. Well, yeah, that's true. But Max signed with the UFC when he was 21, and we're talking people like Volkanovski 3 times. They were close fights. Conor McGregor, Dustin Poirier for the interim lightweight champ going up a division. So there's no shame. It's not like he was getting beaten by, you know, random prelim fighters. You know what I'm saying? It's the top guys, but Topuria is not giving him any credit whatsoever.
No, but this is the first time, like, Topuria has been so confident in his predictions. Everything that he said has come true. He's backed it up in the cage. So for somebody who talks the amount that he does, you kind of have to respect it. When we've seen guys like Colby talking like this, we've seen so many guys talk like this, and their performance in the cage doesn't resonate with the fans the same way that they do on the microphone. This is the first time, though, I've seen him talking to someone like that, and Max responding with like the cool confidence of a true veteran of the sport. Alex Volkanovski was playful with him. Holloway he's not giving him an inch.
Yeah, no, I love Max's response. He's a typical Hawaiian, you know, cool as a cucumber, not rising to it at all. Just like, all right, well, we'll see. I mean, Max is the man. But for Topuria, his self-belief is amazing. And you got to understand, like, that is what sets him apart. That's why he has been so successful. Because whatever it is that you're doing in life, and it's conceive, believe, achieve time, but it's not. But you got to have self-belief. If you don't believe, right, then how the hell are you going to do it? How are you going to achieve? It's true, though, right? Because especially when it comes to fighting, if you don't truly believe that you can beat this man, if you truly don't believe, you know, then you ain't going to beat him. That's why they used to say in boxing in the old days, you could win and lose a fight on the scale. Obviously, it was pre-internet, you know, it was pre-social media, you know, and you didn't get to see your opponent until you stepped on the scale. And that was the first time you might come face to face. You weren't having sit downs on Sky Sports or whatever like they do now. You know what I mean? You'd see him on the scale and you could win and lose that fight right there. Get in his face. You could put a little bit of doubt in there. And if the opponent doubts himself, then you're off to the races. You're going to win that fight. Now, I don't think that's working on Max Holloway, and it doesn't work all the time. It certainly didn't work for me against George St. Pierre, but sometimes it does work. But there's another element to it there. It's just that Ilia Topuria truly believes he is that good, and he probably is that good. The boxing, the wrestling, it's all there. So that just makes me so hyped for this fight.
Yeah, this is the most excited I've been for any fight. Like, this has been the one I've had circled on my list because it's like, you know, I like everything Max has been saying from the beginning, right? Like it does feel like they were hiding Ilia Topuria from that. That's the only matchup that was never even like possibly discussed because it would create the logjam at the top. right? Where we've seen created time and time again when Max Holloway beats Yair Rodriguez, he beats every guy coming up. Illia is like, if he gets this win here, there's a legitimate case for, all right, line up 2 or 3 more guys just to give me the defenses under my record, but I'm going to be the greatest featherweight of all time.
I mean, definitely a conversation for sure. I mean, the problem is you've got Jose Aldo. You can't just forget their resume. Who cares? We don't need to get into that whole discussion. But you're right. I mean, he's already clapping at Islam. You know, it's going on about Islam saying, I want to fight Islam, but I don't want to fight him in the street because I'll end up having to pay his medical bills. Something like that. Is that, or was it the other way around?
No. They said that. Yeah. And then Khabib's team, the Greater Islam Massive, was wondering who Ilya's dentist is because that's the only guy who'd be getting a call.
I didn't see that one. Are you serious? Who said that, Khabib?
No. I believe it was somebody in Islam's camp, either Islam or I doubt it was Islam himself, but I believe it was somebody in Islam's camp.
I do. I love the way Islam and his whole team. They're so like aggressive, but so calmly about it. You know what I mean? Like where I grew up, where we come from, if someone's losing their shit, you'll know about it. And they're like, brother, listen. The only people you'll see is dentists, okay? You know, it's like, and like all calm, you know, not doing it all caps on Twitter. You know what I mean? You know, when it's all caps, these people are mad.
Dude, the ultimate symbol is Khabib putting the hand on the back of Artem Lobov's neck, right? Like just to come here, brother, take a look at it. Why you say this on the screen? Like that's way more menacing than Conor running at a bus with a dolly. You know what I mean?
Not if you were on the bus and you were one of those people that were trying to sue Conor McGregor. It was the most menacing thing they ever saw in their life. But hey, Topuria versus Islam. But he's got to get through Max Holloway. You can't just expect that because, right, here's the thing. On paper, Anthony Smith is, on paper, you can make the case for Topuria. Right. And it comes down to the Volkanovski fight. Of course it does. You can't deny that. And I know MMA math doesn't stack up, but there was 3 fights there. Not 1, not 2, 3 fights. And Volkanovski won them all. Topuria had 1, smoked him. Right. And we love Volk. He's one of the best human beings in all of the UFC. He's great. But it wasn't his night. You know, Topuria dealt with him really, really well, you know, and knocked him out. But it was coming off the back of the Islam Makhachev knockout. You know, and I do believe that played a factor. And then when you see Max Holloway against Justin Gaethje and the performance that he put on there, and the performances, let's be honest, that he's put on against everybody not called Alexander Volkanovski. And forget about Dustin Poirier at 155. Forget about McGregor back in the day because he was still only like 22 years old. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying? Anyone not called Alexander Volkanovski, he's put a beat down on them. And sometimes some fighters just have your number. And that might be the case with Holloway and Volkanovski. But anyway, it's going to be a good one. I can't wait. Passion, drive, and patience. The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. Anyway, I think we got our first guest of the day, Brandon Raw Dog Royval. Get out of here, Harrington. All right, I'm here with the one and only Brandon Raw Dog Royval. Main event once again this weekend going up against Tatsuro Taira. Raw Dog, how we doing, buddy?
I'm doing good, man. How you doing?
I'm all right, man. I'm all right. You excited for this weekend?
Yeah. Just ready to do the damn thing. Ready to weigh in. I've been looking at these for like the last I have this right next to my bed, just ready to eat a little.
What is that?
Cookie, bro. A cookie?
Oh shit!
A cookie? Hey,
well, that's
I'm not
why
getting paid for the sponsorship, but Sprouts cookies, bro. Mwah.
Oh yeah, I love cookies. My wife makes cookies all the time. It pisses me off. I'm like, because I'm trying to stay lean. I'm getting older. I'm not in the gym as much. I'm like, babe, stop making the damn cookies.
Yeah. Oh man, these are like my favorite, like all time favorite food. If I could survive and have nutrient cookies, I would eat that shit all day, every day.
Cookies and milk. I love it.
Yeah.
Anyway, never mind that. Right, we were talking at the fighter meetings yesterday, and you had a lot to say. You going out there, Tatsuro Taira, 16-0, 6-fight win streak. A lot of hype behind this kid. How you feeling ahead of the fight?
I felt good, man. I just checked my weight. I'm like 9 pounds out. Weight's good. I got all day to just kind of sleep around, and we'll start cutting the weight later on tonight, and should just be like a nice, easy day.
Nice. Well, 9 pounds. How are you going to do that? What's your preferred method?
My new preferred method is a hot tub and then that like little blanket or whatever it is. I feel like that's my favorite way nowadays.
Yeah, no, I used to get the bath hot as hell, just putting 10 liters of like regular salt and then cover myself in sweet sweat, get in the bath 20 minutes, get out the bath, 20 minutes under like 100 blankets with the room hot as hell. Repeat that a couple of times, and that does about 6 or 7 pounds.
Yeah, that's not bad too. I remember when I got to the UFC, they showed me like the aluminum blanket type thing, and I was like, "That's a game changer by itself." Like, I couldn't even believe that.
Yeah, well, I guess technology's moved on.
yeah, exactly.
So, what's at stake here, Brandon? I know you fought everybody. I've got your record here. Last one, a 5-round victory over former champ Moreno. Pantoja's on there. You fought all the top dogs. Okay, but you want another title fight after this, right?
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah. How do you think you'll get it done this weekend?
I've been kind of saying this, but it's just like I'm gonna let him pick his poison. If he wants to strike, I'm gonna stay there and strike with him. If he wants to shoot on me, I'm down to grapple. Like, I don't really care.
What do you make of him when you watch the tape on him? Because he looks really technical, obviously
he's really
undefeated.
technical, really good. I just think that he looks good over opponents I don't think are that good, or like aren't that high level. I feel like my last 5 fights have been in some of the hardest fights in the UFC, and I feel like he might have had the easiest route to the top 5 out of everybody.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. His last fight, he took the back and he was trying to get a takedown, trying to force the guy kind of off balance, and he blew his knee out or something. What did you think about that?
I thought Alex Perez had a torn MCL going into that, or ACL going into that.
Oh, really? So I think you give him no credit.
No, I'm giving him credit. I'll give him credit. That shit looks awkward. Like, I'm not really the type to stand and fight the back anyways. I always like kind of hitting that and using the mat to get someone off my back. But I 100% believe in my heart of hearts that Alex Perez had a torn ACL going into that fight. Okay.
Now, you fought the champion, Pantoja, twice before. Pantoja is incredible. What would you do differently if you're successful and you get the rematch?
Oh, I would risk it more. I had it in my head that I just did not want to give up the back. So much so I just didn't do what I do really well, which is scramble my ass off, and I kind of just was like playing it safe. I would play guard and throw up submissions and then hope to get like a technical stand-up where it's like, that's not where I'm the best at. Where I'm the best at and where I was even doing really good with him the first round, the first time we fought was just scrambling. I was scrambling, keeping him tired, and I don't think many people could keep up with that pace that I have as far as like my scramblability and just ability to kind of just move around and get back up and even find submissions in the process of that. If I could do that fight over again, I would pretend that first fight never happened and go in like I did the first fight with just better back defense, and I worked really hard on my back defense. The only time I gave up my back in that whole entire fight is the cage got in my way. The cage got in my way and he used the cage to kind of get my back. And that was the only time I got my back taken. But I believe that my back defense has grown because of Pantoja. I worked a whole goddamn camp around it. But that being said, I was so afraid to give up my back that I didn't trust all the defense I did in the process of all that. And trust my scrambling skills.
Yeah, but that's the thing, because it's not wasted work, though. I mean, you're saying you did a lot of work in the training camp, and it wasn't necessarily what maybe you should have focused on. But it's all It's all in the bank. It's all there for future fights. You know what I mean?
And it's going to help me against this kid. And I think Brandon Moreno's a really good back rider too. And that helped me for that. I mean, we never really got there in the situation where he was close to taking my back, but it negated that too. But as far as like money in the bank, I had that dialed in, and Tatsuro's, at least in his fights, is a pretty good back taker.
All right. Well, I'm looking forward to that. Brandon, tell us a little bit of your backstory. How did you get into MMA? Where did you grow up? What was life like? Come on, give us a little inside background on Brandon Raw Dog.
I used to want to be a boxer when I was younger. Me and my brother used to box every day. That was like my shit. I met Fernando Vargas recently, and it was so cool because like when I was younger, I used to have the Fernando Vargas haircut. I used to have my hair like shaved and then just the bangs. And that was like the Fernando Vargas. Yeah. Every little Hispanic kid in my neighborhood had that. But like that being said, that was our haircut that we rocked all the time. And me and my brother would be boxing every day. And then I would always lure people over to come fight me at my house, like boxing. I'm like, oh, I got boxing gloves. You want to try? Like, thought I always like I had the whole neighborhood come and box me, and that was like my thing. Is I always like boxing, and eventually, my brother were like kind of boxing around, and he guillotined me because we watched MMA too. But like, I always thought kicking was lame, and I always thought that like I would never watch any part of the ground. If I went to the ground, I was fast forwarding until they started standing up again, and I would just not even pay attention if it was live, But then I got choked out. My brother choked me out dirty, and I didn't even know. Like at that point, I wasn't even watching like submissions at all, so I didn't care how to tap or anything. But I got put to sleep and with a guillotine.
Oh, out cold.
Yeah, out cold.
And that was your brother.
Oh yeah, we've done that to each other a handful of times. Me and my brother used to go at it. Me and my brother when I was younger, like, and I actually started training. I would go home, show him the move. We'd practice the move for a little bit, and then we'd fight for like an hour. We'd fight until my shoulder dislocated because I had bad shoulder problems back then too. So I would always fight him until my shoulder dislocated. He'd pop it in for me, and then we just chill for the day, and then repeat the next day. Like that was our life. Is I would go, like in the summer, I go to martial arts. I go teach him some moves, and then me and him would go at it until my shoulder dislocated. Yeah.
How much older or younger?
2 years older.
All right. So you and your older brother.
My brother was known in the area as like a psycho. My brother was crazy. My brother was always fighting, always getting into it. So I always had to like deal with like a crazy older brother. So when it came to fighting, I was never like, I was always beating the shit out of people when I was younger. Like anybody my age or like a year older, like they were nothing compared to like fighting my brother my whole entire life. And we're having
that sounds very familiar.
Yeah. In sixth grade, we're having like technical fights, like in my sixth grade, me and him were like trying to box each other, trying to set up jabs and shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like we watched fighting like detailed, and that was like our life every day. Fight. And then he taught me how to do jujitsu. And at the time, it was like all the coolest champions and all the best champions were like jujitsu, like strikers, And so that's what I thought. Like, I remember I'm like, all right, well, I'm gonna learn jujitsu, and we started like, slowing down, learning the ground game, and it kind of just took off from there. So one of my fighters is like a Japanese fighter was Shinya Aoki, and that's where I learned a lot of my ground game from. And that was like one of my favorite fighters growing up was Shinya Aoki. I mean, his striking was garbage, and anytime he got hit, it looked ugly. But when that motherfucker hit the ground, he was
his leg locks were amazing.
Yeah, his master was go-go plotting people from mount. He was doing so much cool stuff, and it's just you don't even see some of that stuff these days. But it's just it was cool, man, and that was like my hero. That's really what got me into martial arts. Is then I started when I was about 16, and when I started martial arts, it was just me and him just kind of training together, and it was cool.
I remember when I started high school, my brother was a few years older, and he just left, and he was kind of a wild guy as well, and he might have beat up a couple of kids along the way that deserved it, you know what I mean? So when I joined, we call it first year. I was a first year, and the fifth years, they're the seniors in American terms, and they were all like, Bisping's little brother. I got the shit kicked out of me almost every day by all the fifth years, thanks to my older brother. But it's a good training ground. It's a good training ground if you're going to go on and become a professional fighter.
Straight up, man. That's exactly. I've inherited a few beefs throughout my life. I've had to jump in a few fights on my life because my brother was the kind of guy that would talk shit to groups of people, and I've never lacked being in a fight. That's for damn sure.
You know what? It's a nice feeling though, isn't it? To be not the fighting side, but just to know that if anything does happen, you can handle yourself. And, and I don't pity guys, but you see some people out there, they're not capable of defending themselves at all. And that must be a vulnerable feeling.
Oh, yeah. I always wonder that. I always wonder that too. Like, when I was younger too, I was so obsessed with fighting, man. Like fighting was my daily life. I can't even believe I operated in school because I remember senior years when smartphones came out and you could watch YouTube. I was just watching highlight reels all day instead of doing it. But anywhere between because I got in a fight when I was a freshman. Right when I got into school, I fought some dude that was an upperclassman, but then I pretty much beefed with all of his friends. So I was almost getting in fights and talking shit on a regular basis. But like I said, what I was alluding to is if I left that hallway, there's no way you couldn't have sucker punched me in the hall without me seeing it coming because I've thought of every scenario constantly at all times. And I was on my toes on 100% of the time, man. And that was just me, man. I was just always ready to fight. I was always ready for the worst shit to happen. And, and it makes all the sense in the world where I'm at now,
Love it. Raw Dog. How did we get the nickname?
Just raw dogging, baby. You earn those things, No, just play.
Awesome. Well, listen, I won't keep you for too much longer. In fact, I'll let you go because I know how it feels. How many pounds have you done so far?
I mean, I haven't cut any water weight yet. Just kind of I dieted down to 136, which is pretty dope. So. All right.
Well, you get the job done. I'll see you in the Octagon Saturday night, my brother.
All right. I'll see you soon, bro. Thank you for your time.
No, thank you for your time. Take it easy, Brandon. All right, thanks for your time, Brandon, and all the best this weekend. Harrington, what have we got going on in MMA, buddy?
Mostly just returns. People are talking about coming back left and right. We had, obviously, Jorge Masvidal talk about it a few weeks ago. Now, Tyron Woodley says his 3.5-year hiatus from MMA is over. He said the break was good for him. He was fighting nonstop from the age 10 from the age of 20 to the age of 40. He's like, I'm glad I took the break. I'm ready to go. I'm reset, hungry to get back in MMA.
I don't want to sit here and talk shit about Woodley, but I don't know if it's the right thing, I mean, he went 0-5 in the UFC. Granted, he could probably have some fights and win some fights. Of course he could. But could he come back at the highest level? I think that's doubtful now because not only is it, he's 42 years old. Been a long time since he was in the UFC. He's on a 5-fight losing streak there. Lost to Jake Paul twice, so you could say he's on a 7-fight losing streak. I don't think the UFC would necessarily be interested. Is that what he's talking about?
Well, I mean, he said he wanted to come back, and I don't know what his contract situation is, but I do know that Dana White was asked at the post-fight media scrum for Contender Series on Tuesday about both Jorge Masvidal and Tyron Woodley, with them both expressing interest to come back. They asked Dana, will we see them in the Octagon? Dana's response, probably not.
Yeah. Hey, listen, best of luck to Woodley and Masvidal, and that's a shame that we won't see him in the UFC. I'd like to see Masvidal back in the UFC. I think there's a couple of fun matchups for him. Woodley, he's 42. That's the only issue, man. Father time gets us all, gets too old. You got to wonder what the reasons are. You know what I mean? And he made some money. He did great. He had a very, very good career. I mean, how many times did he defend the belt? 3 times, something like that. So he had some big fights. He became the champion. His legacy set in stone. And, it passed him by in the end. Masvidal, I think he's still got something to give, if I'm honest. I saw Masvidal against Nate Diaz. I was there. That was a tremendous fight. I'd love to see that one, but I'm not too sure about that. All right, this episode is sponsored by MyBookie, and it is that time of the year. Winning season is back, football is back, and MyBookie is here to make sure that you are ready to cash in on the action. This season, MyBookie is pulling out all the stops with incredible promotions like weekly risk-free boosts. On Thursdays, where you can bet without a sweat. If your bet hits, you win big. If it doesn't, just forget it. MyBookie will refund your wager. But that's just the beginning. MyBookie is giving away hundreds of thousands in prizes with their Super Survivor and Square contests. Get your entries in now for your shot at huge cash rewards. When you're ready to get started, use the promo code BELIEVE to claim some extra cheese on top of your first deposit. MyBookie's tiered bonuses make it easy to deposit with crypto or with credit. The bigger your deposit, the bigger your bonus. And now loyalty pays off. With my bookie, the more that you play, the more that you will win. It's simple. Climb through tiers of the loyalty rewards program to unlock even more epic promotions, exclusive giveaways, and bigger rewards. My bookie Plus is the lock of the century. Bet on anything, anywhere, anytime, and make your season a winning season by going to mybookie.com. And the promo code is BELIEVE. Now, seeing things, ghosts. Do you believe in ghosts, Harrington?
Oh, yeah, certainly.
But do you believe in ghosts?
Yeah, no, I'm 100%.
Do you actually believe in ghosts?
Yeah, I believe in a lot of paranormal stuff, ghosts being one of them.
No, you don't. Brian, do you believe in ghosts?
I do not.
Okay.
Michael Bisping.
I believe that the ghost of Tyron Woodley might return at the UFC. Sorry, Tyron, I couldn't resist. Allude to what I'm talking about here. This is hilarious.
So there is apparently mischief. General mischief making is a crime in the UK. A 24-year-old man was messing around in a cemetery and he was playing some soccer. And as people went by, he would jump out and yell, "Ooh," just ghost noises at people. The local police did not find it very funny. They found the man, booted him out of the cemetery, and fined him $42 for his crime.
Which is ridiculous. He's a kid. He's having fun. He's going, "Woo," at people in a cemetery. It's like, come on, really? You've got nothing better to do with your time. Yeah, all right. It was a £35 fine, okay, which is nothing. But it's a lot of money to that. Was it a kid or a man?
24 years old.
Oh, 24 years old. All right, well, you know, so what? You're still allowed to have a laugh. He's being a little bit silly. Come on,
right.
What's your problem?
Well, I mean, let's say I'm going to see my grandmother's gravesite, you know, on a Friday night, the anniversary of her death. I took, you know, her husband is with me. He's frail, barely leaves the house. We're just trying to see the grave. And I got this 24-year-old who I bet was boozing in a cemetery, jumping out, going, "Ooh," messing with my family. Screw you, kid.
Oh, yeah. Well, when you put it like that, and he's not a kid. I thought it was a kid. You know what I mean? I thought, because that's what kids do. Kids mess around. Kids have fun.
Yeah.
Kids get up to mischief. Kids are supposed to do that. Kids are supposed to get into mischief. Okay? It's called pushing boundaries. It's how you learn. It's called having a laugh. It's called having a story to tell your mates at school. You know what I mean? You don't want to be the boring kid. You want to be the kid that gets told off. You want to have some fun. But when you put it like that, if you're going to see your grandma on the anniversary of her death, he jumped out with a can of beer in his hand, then yeah, I'd have something to say as well. But this reminds me of a story when I was a kid, because we got a castle in Clitheroe, and this new kid moved to Clitheroe. Mark Spink, shout out Mark Spink, hope you well, buddy. Still lives in Clitheroe. When he moved to Clitheroe, me and him kind of buddied up at school, right? And I said, and at the top of the castle, they don't have it anymore, but they used to have like a speaker, like a soundtrack that would play like a guy talking about the castle.
Oh,
and it started off like, it would start like that. And then it would go, "Hello there." And it would start talking. So anyway, I said to Spinky, I said, "Oh, we're going to go up the castle at night. It's haunted. There's ghosts and stuff." And he didn't really believe me. Right. And we're walking up and it's really dark and gloomy. And it's from like the 11th century, spooky as hell, you know, around October. It timed it perfect. Because as we walked into the castle keep, we just caught it right at the start, and it goes, "Hello there," and he just and he bolted, he ran. Oh my god, I laughed my goddamn head off. So yeah, I've got no problem with this guy doing that. He was having a laugh. Come on.
No, that's a hysterical prank, and I know for sure he was sitting there just begging some new gullible kid to move into town, because the only thing worse than getting hit like that is not being able to get somebody with it down the line.
Yeah. But as I say, you'd think the police would have better things to do.
Oh, certainly they do, and they're choosing not to.
Anywhere in the UK.
No, there's crime bloody everywhere.
No,
Let me tell you that.
Exist.
Real crime, real crimes. You know. Anyway, what else have we got in the world of non? Oh, dude, North Carolina. Jeez Louise. Gotta talk. If you're up there, guys, I wish you nothing but the best of luck. Because we were thinking about moving to Asheville. We've mentioned that. I mean, moving to Asheville, that's one of the cities that we just highlighted to go and check out, you know. It pretty much doesn't even exist anymore. I mean, maybe just the pictures that we saw, but it looked so bad from that hurricane. So bad. The damage and devastation is just, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely tragic. And then add this to, I believe it was Florida. Milton just hit yesterday. So it's like, man, it's just a rough couple of weeks.
Milton, the Florida one, it's not as bad by the looks of it, because my wife, Rebecca, was all over the hurricane watch yesterday. She was glued to it. And this morning when we put the news on, seemed like, you know, there's a bit of destruction, of course, and there's a few boats overturned and all the rest of it. But there isn't so many people having their houses and livelihoods destroyed, and just, you know, imagine that. You know, imagine that you get towards the end of your life and you come into retirement and you kind of set up nicely, and then a goddamn hurricane comes in, destroys the house, and then the government have classified it as a mudslide. So the insurance companies aren't paying out, which is absolutely ridiculous and just utterly disgusting. Brian, have you got any input on that?
Yeah, I have a couple buddies who live down in the mid-Florida area, and they were talking about how it wasn't as bad as they were projected, but
oh, really?
Their insurance company did drop them the week earlier.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Apparently that was a big thing. Like a week before, a lot of people got their insurances dropped.
How is that legal?
Well, our insurance company just dropped us recently because of fires, because of the fire risk. So we had to call around for ages. Rebecca got it done, but we had to pay a significant hike in premiums. Talking of which, by the way, I got a little bit of advice for everyone. Our tumble dryer wasn't getting hot enough. Rebecca wasn't happy, so she got a guy out, and he came like 2 or 3 times, and he was a nice guy, but he was scratching his head because he couldn't understand. Anyway, it turns out the vent, which leaves the tumble dryer and goes through the walls and stuff and comes out of one of the walls, was full of lint, like completely full of lint, backed up completely. There was 2 birds' nests in there, and he was like, that is so dangerous.
Oh,
he said one little bit of like ash from a fire, because that's how the houses go up.
Yeah.
He said you would have been done. The house would have been completely burned down.
If it's blocked up like that, even just pushing.
Come here. Oh no, Rebecca's here. Oh no, there's more to this. Sorry, Brian. No. Listen. I'm missing a lot of it.
He's missing the most crucial part. Hi guys. I was just eavesdropping.
Hi, Rebecca.
We had an actual fire in the dryer though.
Yeah, we did. I forgot about that.
Like thankfully, I had no idea, but thankfully it didn't. You know, it was contained within the dryer, but my dryer just stopped working. So I'm like, okay, I got someone out, and he's like, "You've had a fire in this dryer."
Yeah, no, because he took
no
pictures.
Idea.
He took pictures of all like the singes and everything. Yeah.
But that's like no one tells you. You've got to
touch. Yeah, sit on my knee. You don't look so weird.
Weird.
I don't mean weird, but it's just the angle.
Well, now I look weird.
No, you don't. What were you saying?
Well, no one tells you to do this stuff.
No, they don't. And that's what I was going to say. Every 5 years. We're
talking about dryers.
You got to get your dryers.
Okay, get your dryer vent cleaned.
And you get out of here. Go on.
Okay, bye.
Right, thank you, Rebecca. What's up, Cory? How you doing, buddy? We're just talking about. How you doing, man? I'm great, man. Thanks for your time. We're just talking about tumble dryers. It's all the exciting stuff on the Believe in Me podcast, and how apparently you got to get the tubes cleared out every 5 years, because ours was blocked and we had a little fire. Anyway, there you go.
Tragedy. Tumble dryers. All right, I'll try not to buy those then.
Bro, you got to get it done. Cory, how you been, man? How you been?
Yeah, I've been good. How about you?
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Last time we saw you in action, of course, was out in Abu Dhabi against the Nurmagomedov. Talk to me about that fight, that performance, and what's next, etc.
I thought I did okay. I obviously needed to do better, but yeah, I mean, looking back, I spent a lot of the last few years really trying to like be one of the best grapplers in the sport, you know, and be able to compete against these guys like Umar and future people that are going to be really high level, like high accoladed wrestlers. So I spent like last few years kind of doing that because my striking was kind of good enough, you know. So now I think I just got to kind of like tailor things a little bit differently, because I overestimated how good he was going to be in the grappling department. So through camp, I spent a lot of time doing that, and maybe not enough time spent like diving real deep into the striking portion and what that was going to look like. But, you know, that's just kind of the way that things go. You lose, you have to readjust and then move forward and all of that. But it was like a 7 out of 10, you know, and I needed to fight at like a 9 or a 10 out of 10 in order to win that fight. So I'll get him next time.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, it was a great fight. It was a great performance, and you more than held your own. And, you know, it is what it is. He got you on the scorecards. There's no shame. There's no shame. Certainly, excuse me, when it's Umar Nurmagomedov, there's absolutely nothing. You know, it is what it is. You learn, you get better. So I see a lot of people talking about a potential matchup with you and Sugar Sean O'Malley. That's kind of doing the rounds as the most exciting or the only exciting fight left in the bantamweight division. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that you read all the comments. I don't read a ton of the comments, but you read all the comments, man, and you talk to fans and you talk to people, and that's the fight that everyone wants to see happen. And I know Sean wants to wait to June. I'm actually kind of surprised that the UFC hasn't come to me or Sean hasn't said anything about that fight yet or anything and just asked, you know, like, hey, you willing to wait till June? Because I would entertain that big time, because I think a big piece that I've really been able to appreciate lately in the sport is that I really want to give the fans like what they're paying to see. And if it means waiting a little bit to fight in a fight where fans are most excited for, you know, like I would definitely big time entertain that. I would rather not have it be all the way in June, but I mean, there's no better fight that you can make, man. Like me and O'Malley is just, it's a banger of a fight. Everyone knows it. You read all the comments. That's the only fight that people are asking for me next and for Sean O'Malley next. So
has there been any talk from the UFC about any opponents in general?
Not really. I told him after the last fight, I was like, hey, look, guys, like I just sat out for a whole year with an injury. So I kind of want to, you know, get back in there pretty soon. So they tried to match me and Figgy up in December. That was, I don't know, sometime last month. Figgy turned down the fight, wanted to fight Jan. I think that just like my frame is just a difficult one to deal with in the sport. And then also like
it is at 135.
Yeah, and I'm well-rounded, and you know, like I'm not like a big shit talker guy. So I think that maybe guys think that it's going to be not a big fight, but I think that now at this point in the UFC, I've established myself, especially in this division, which is one of the best ones, is one of the best guys that there is, and you know, when I show up to fight, it's going to be a good fight. So yeah, I mean, they said me and Figgy turned it down. Can't really do much about that. So there's really no one else to fight outside of that. I asked for Jan too, and they said that they were likely going to do Jan and Figgy because me and Jan had already fought. So, but yeah, I don't know. It was either one of those two, right? There really isn't anyone else to fight. Henry's talking about going to 25, and he says all kinds of shit all the time that he sometimes follows through with and then sometimes doesn't. So yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at, man. I feel like O'Malley's really the only guy to fight. Maybe the winner of Jan and Figgy if O'Malley's going to be weird and still not bring me up or mention that fight or anything like that. So yeah, that's what I'm looking at.
I kind of sense a little bit of frustration. Is that correct?
Sure. I mean, it kind of sucks when you get, I mean, dude, I just spent like a whole year sitting out. Like I kind of want, I wanted to rattle off some fights. I know that that's really important to people. Like you get your face out there more, man. People start to catch on a lot more too. So I wanted to be really active, but there's really no one to fight. So yeah, it's like frustrating being in the position, but I guess it's a good problem.
All the guys that you're talking about there, they're obviously like all the top 5 people. What about just to stay active? Would you consider someone a little bit further down the pecking order?
I mean, I was really crossing my fingers that Aldo would win and look a little bit better than he did, but he lost that fight. Batista didn't put on the best performance in the world, or at least the fans definitely didn't like it based off of their response. So I kind of wouldn't really entertain that. I also kind of have to be a little bit stingier than what kind of feels right, because I think that I deserve a certain caliber opponent. And I think if I went too far down, man, I think I'd be devaluing myself. And that's kind of like a weird thing for me to try to feel like, because that's not what this is to me. But at the same time, that's the reality of it. So that's kind of where I'm at with that.
Yeah. No, I totally get it. I do. The reason I wanted to speak to you, of course, is you're one of the top bantamweights, but also when we speak to you at the fighter meetings, like I'm always so impressed. by your mentality and what you bring to the sport. I'm an idiot and I'm silly and all the rest of it, but I take my career and my profession very seriously, of course. Yep. But like when I speak to you, you're so cerebral and you talk about you come at the mixed martial arts lifestyle through kind of a different lens to other fighters that I speak to. Could you elaborate on that a little bit of what I'm talking about? You know, you do a lot of meditating and stuff like that, more from like a traditional martial arts mindset sometimes.
Yeah, sure. Dude, every time I bring up meditating in front of you, in my head, I'm just like, every time I'm just like, Mike thinks I'm such a pussy.
No, I don't. I find it interesting. I try and meditate. I just can't. But the ADD mind's going around a million miles an hour. I sit there and I close my eyes and think, right, meditate. And I'm like, what am I doing? I'm just letting my eyes shut, thinking about everything I've got to do later today.
Yeah. That's the point a little bit. But yeah, you know, fighting, I always say this, fighting is my best friend. It's something that I treat as like, I know that the sport is a little bit weird because it's where sport and entertainment meet. There's like when you look at, for example, all of the bad decisions from last week, you know, like it's because there's kind of two camps of people. There's people that want to be entertained by fights. And then there's people that want to watch a sport and watch people win. And then you get a guy like take, for example, Aldo versus Batista. Batista's like, yeah, of course, like I'll hold him against the fence. Why would I not do that? That's winning. That's like the sport piece. And then you have fighters who are like the guys that are like, yeah, like I don't care about the rules. Like this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to like go out there, fight and try to finish this guy. So there kind of seems to be two camps with all of that. But for me personally, fighting, like I said, is like, it's my best friend. It's kind of the only thing that I know. I see it as a way for me to kind of understand the world better, to understand myself a lot better, to understand kind of what people are like. And I can do that through understanding myself better. And I like throwing myself in the fire. Like this sport, as you know, is one that can be very intimidating and very scary. And I think that when you're doing really hard stuff, which is fighting, you just get to know yourself better. And I think that knowing yourself better makes you understand the world better, and then it makes you understand other people better and all of that stuff. So I don't treat it like it's a sport. I don't treat it like it's a hobby or an activity that I do. This is like my way of connecting to life. And that's kind of just the way that I view it. So I take it serious, maybe like a little bit too serious. But yeah, fighting is kind of the only thing that I know. I know that like nowadays fighters kind of got to be like social influencers. They got to be funny. They got to have a character. They have to do all of this stuff. But my character is just like guy who trains a lot and shuts sorry, I know we're not supposed to say that.
No, you're good, buddy. Don't worry about it. I don't care.
That shuts up, you know, like I'm just kind of like a blue collar guy that just is quiet. I put in my work. I think about this stuff when I'm laying in bed and can't sleep. And I try to just problem solve and be the best version of myself that I can in fighting.
But that's what people want, I think, because yeah, you're right. If you go out there and you talk a lot of crap, you know, and you cut great promos and this and that, you know, you're doing the Michael Chandler bit on the microphone, whoa, and doing the Ric Flair and talking shit like McGregor, you know, maybe it gets you a bit more spotlight. But you've got to be authentic. You've got to be yourself, you know, otherwise everything's just forced. It's fake. It's an act. You said fighting is my best friend. I thought that was really interesting. Could you just explain that a little bit more?
Yeah, sure. So I started training when I was 17 years old. In Aurora, Colorado. And like without going into too much like detail of stuff, like I kind of grew up like a little bit sad. You know what I mean? Like I just like didn't really like everything about my life kind of growing up, you know? So I was a bit sad. I was like a bit angry, like just like kind of a teenage, not maybe like a punk. I was like pretty polite, but I was still kind of like, nah, I'm gonna do what I want to do. And you know, all of that stuff. I was kind of that way. So when I started fighting, it like really kind of course corrected me. I feel like a lot. It gave me like a lot of purpose. It gave me like a reason to live more or less, you know. It gave me something to really hone in on and to just be there for me, man. Like I grew up and I didn't really feel like there was too many people that were there for me. And I feel like fighting in the gym and all of that stuff, that was always there for me. Like I used to love the nights where I would stay into the gym until like 9, 10 o'clock at night. And I would kind of just leave by myself or hang out with one or two of the other guys that was there. And it just felt like home. Like the gym always really felt like home. So that's kind of that's kind of how I treat the sport. You know, like I treat it with the utmost respect. I see myself as someone that has to move this sport in a direction that I think is virtuous and honorable. And, you know, I kind of joke and call myself like the balance bringer of the sport a little bit, because, you know, like not everyone can be crazy, man. Some people got to be humble and be the way that I am. I kind of just see myself as that way. But man, the fighting's always just been there for me, man. And I've kind of always been a lonely dude, and it's just always been there for me. It's been my best friend.
Thank you for sharing that, because it takes a lot of courage to do that. And it's not an unfamiliar story. I've had so many fighters on here, and of course my own story as well. Same thing, you know, life going completely the wrong way, making bad decisions, angry kid, you know, getting up to no good and getting arrested and all kinds of shit. And then I find mixed martial arts, and I feel like I've now finally got a purpose, and this is what I'm destined to do. And, you know, it just helped me on the right path. And I'm sure similar things for yourself as well. Don't beat yourself up on not being a loudmouth. Do you know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with that. It takes all sorts, man, and every different type of character and all the rest of it. So there's absolutely nothing wrong with your approach whatsoever. It's what you do inside the octagon that counts. And what you do inside the octagon, Cory, is unbelievable. I'm telling you, like, I know Chito very well, you know, and that performance you had against Chito Vera was just unreal. And I apologize, Chito, if you see this. He's a great fighter as well. But when you are on, you are next level, man. You know, so, you know, yeah. Smile now and again.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I kind of have like resting douchebag face a little bit.
Oh, no, me too. If I'm not smiling and laughing, I look like I want to kill someone.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, like that's kind of, I was actually listening to someone's podcast the other day, and they were just kind of talking about, it was some comedian's podcast, but they were talking about when you come up, like, I don't know, in the 90s and the 2000s, because there wasn't a ton of social media, it was kind of where if you were a comedian, you were a comedian, and that's the only thing that you did. You know, like you didn't really mess around in other areas. You didn't act. You didn't do this. You didn't do that. So that's kind of the way that I see stuff. And it feels a little bit foreign now, because like, I don't know if it's this generation or what it is that people are kind of like or whatever, but I kind of just see myself like, bro, like I go to the gym, I train almost just as hard when I'm out of camp as I do when I'm in camp. Like, this is the only thing that I find interesting. Like, I don't care about television. I don't care. Like, I like read books a little bit, and I kind of like meditate and all that stuff, but that's just some stuff that I like kind of do. It's the only thing that interests me. So, as long as I
sports,
huh?
No. What about sports?
Nah, not really.
Most fighters don't like sport, which is, there's something in that.
I mean, they don't really I mean, it kind of seems a little bit silly when like our sport is hitting each other, and like there's like, it seems like a point to it, or like a primitive point to it, but like shooting goals doesn't seem like there's any like primitive point to it, you know? So, but yeah, I mean, that's all that I do, dude. And as long as I'm training and as long as I'm fighting, I know that I'll always continue to get better. And I'm really, you know, like, I know that losing sucks or whatever, but I can't even beat myself too much up about that last fight, because I thought that I did do pretty well. There's like a few fixes, and I had to fight at a 9 or a 10, not a 7, in order to win that fight. So yeah, that's just what I got to do next time. And I've just got to keep improving. And I'm actually adding some really cool stuff into my game, which is another reason that I kind of want to fight fairly soon, is because I'm excited about all of the stuff that I learned from Umar and gaining a bunch of confidence and how I can defensively grapple and all of that stuff. So yeah, man, I'm ready to go. I hope it's O'Malley next. Or some type of big caliber fight that would be the same.
Yeah, well, I'm sure it's going to be. It's going to be a big name out there. And what are you, 32 years old?
Yep.
Yeah, you still got plenty of time left. Plenty of time. So don't worry about it. The problem is when you lose a fight and you're waiting for the next one, you're sitting on a loss. Yeah. And the way it works in this game is you're only as good as your last fight. But your last fight, you went 5 rounds with Umar Nurmagomedov, who could be a champion down the line. What do you think about Merab Dvalishvili as the champion?
Yeah, you know, I mean, Merab, he beat Sean like super fair and square, especially, you know, you watch that fight and you see like Tim kind of being a little bit the way that Tim is, Sean's coach, you know, like just talking to Merab early, and then like Sean grabbing the glove, and like they seemed a little bit off, those two, that night. I mean, Merab fought awesome, and that's how you beat Sean O'Malley, whether it's the most exciting thing in the world. Like, when it comes to winning, like, that's what wins, which is why I invest so much time in grappling. If it was just striking, great. Like, I'd probably be a fantastic striker by now if that's all that I had to focus on, but it's not how the sport works. So, I mean, I thought that Merab did great. I thought that he fought the fight exactly how he should fight the fight. Umar versus Merab, that's going to be a super fascinating one. I think that Umar is probably better on paper, but I mean, you can't really, like, Merab just does Merab stuff and it works really well. And he's on like a 12-fight win streak. You cannot just overlook something like that. And he's beaten so many former champs and all of that stuff. I almost want to give the nod to Merab just based off of experience and just based off of the guys that he's beat. But Umar, at the same time, I think has just a really good head on his shoulders, and he seems like a really sharp guy. And I don't know that too much of that will impact that type of person. So that's going to be a great fight. I don't know. Who do you have winning that one? I have no idea.
Oh, you're putting me on the spot there. So I don't know.
I don't know either. Hey, I get put on the spot a lot too.
I really don't know. I mean, when I look at it, it's hard to deny Umar Nurmagomedov with the undefeated streak. But then for everything you just said, Merab, the streak that he's on, Jose Aldo, Piotr Yan, Henry Cejudo, all the champs, Sean O'Malley, all the champions that he's beaten, he finds a way to do it. So I just don't know. It's one of those. Could be a coin flip. Anyway, Cory, thank you so much for your time today. Said I wouldn't take too much. I appreciate it. Hope you get a fight book soon, and I look forward to watching it.
Cool. Nice talking to you, Mike. I'll catch you later.
Right on, Cory. Thank you very much.
Have a good one.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Yeah, see ya.
All the best. All right, this episode is sponsored by Shopify, which makes it very, very easy for you if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a businessman, if you're thinking of starting a business. It makes it easy for you to get online and start selling to everybody on the planet. If you've already got a business and you're not online, then what are you doing? You got to have a website. You got to accept all major payment methods. You got to hire a website designer. To do all of these things is time consuming and very, very expensive. Well, now with Shopify, it is ridiculously cheap and easy, and it won't take a while. Right now, you can sign up for a trial period of just $1 per month so that you can boost your sales, so you can reach your potential. Right now, Shopify is the place to be. Nobody does selling better than Shopify, home of the #1 checkout on the planet and the not so secret with Shop Pay that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts that go abandoned and way more sales going on. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell when your customers are scrolling or strolling on the web, in your store, on their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more sell on Shopify. The secret's out. It's not a secret. Businesses that want to grow, they grow with Shopify. And if this sounds like something you want to take advantage of, or something that you could implement in your life, in your business to reach your potential, well, then it's time to upgrade your business and get the same checkout. All you got to do is go to shopify.com/believe, all lowercase. You can sign up for $1 per month for a trial period, and you will be up and running. You'll be online. You'll have your website. You'll have the major payment methods. You'll be bloody selling to everybody all over the world and hopefully making a killing. Shopify.com/believe to sign up for a $1 per month trial period. Harrington.
What's up, man?
It's funny that he said about meditation, or I mentioned it, because he does like to meditate, and so do I've tried, because I see a lot of people talk about meditation. I'm like, all right, I'm in the sauna or whatever I'm doing. You know, when I'm in the ice bath, I close my eyes and just like wait for life to end, because I just, the time to go by as fast as possible. Have you ever done a bit of meditation, Harrington?
Oh yeah. The problem is I always fall asleep.
Yeah, no. I've done that. It's like just lie in a quiet room, lie on the bed, zone out, empty your mind of all stresses and anything, and then like, you missed your pickup time. I've fallen asleep. Yeah, I've done that a couple of times.
I was being mindful. I'm an idiot.
Yeah. No, I would love to have a good meditate.
It would be nice, but I don't get how people, I don't get how you shut your body down physically, turn your mind off and then stay conscious. That just, it doesn't make sense to me.
I guess there's an art to it, and we just don't know what the art is. There's lots of apps for it. I've tried apps and all the rest of it, but it's like, I'm all right. I'm 45. I'm doing okay. I've got this far. But I do like now and again a bit of Zen time. I was at the PI the other day, the Performance Institute, on Tuesday, having a little workout. And they got a big, massive sauna. I sat in the sauna, just zen it out. You know,
that's incredible. Like that and the ice bath sounds like that's what it's actually used for, right? Like my body is going through so much stress. I need to have my mind overpower it, you know?
Yeah. I saw Strickland at the PI. Strickland's there with Brian Battle. And then like a little posse of like 5 or 6 people. And wherever Sean went, they were going, you know what I mean? Just following him around. And I was on the exercise bike for a bit. I said, what's up? Then I lifted my weights and whatnot. And then I had a little chat. I said, is that all you do? You just walk around there with your little bloody entourage, your little posse. You know, you can tell the man's hitting it big time when he has a posse or an entourage that just follows him round. And you know, and you've got famous fighters like Brian Battle in that entourage.
Well, you got famous fighters like Brian Battle who are kicking up grief with the entire nation of France. So I love this idea of like a team of American imperialists. You know what I mean? Like a super American team. Anytime they go fight another country, F this country, America's number one. If that becomes like the new NWO of the UFC, I'd be so happy.
Yeah, no. Sean's great. He's great. Did you see what he said on social media the other day, that men don't deserve to be happy? And I was like, I don't really agree with that, Sean. I mean, listen, do you? I'm not going to stand here and like argue, and we've all got our own opinions. And as I say, Sean's great, and he's hilarious. In fact, he is hilarious. And sometimes he's like, whoa, that was a bit far, Sean. That was a bit much, and you're a bit off on that one. But let's have a look what it says. When men say I'm not happy, you're a man. You're not supposed to be happy. Being happy is for women and children. You're meant to endure hardship. Hold on, let me adjust my contact lens again. Jesus, bloody Christ, these are new ones as well. Finish off the tweet, Harry. Oh, there it is. Instead of saying I'm not happy, say, what can I do to make the people that I care about happy? That's being a man. And there's some truth to what he's saying there. Of course there is. As a man, as a parent, as a husband, a father, a provider, you know, your family has to come first. But there's nothing wrong with the pursuit of happiness.
When I think about Strickland saying men aren't supposed to be happy, my first thought is have a kid, right? Because I don't think I felt true happiness. You know, like there were pursuits of joy, pursuits of vice. There were moments of elation, of excitement, but true happiness, I don't think I felt until like coming home from the hospital with my baby, being like, all right, everything is different now. Your entire life is for this thing that's in your arm. Everything you do directly reflects on this thing that you're holding right now. And reading what Sean actually said word for word, it's like he kind of does have a grasp of it. You know, like for me, the thing that brings me actual true happiness is providing something for my family, right? Bringing home groceries or taking care of it, whatever it is, doing something for my family makes me truly happy.
No, of course. And 100% I agree with that all day long. And I think that gives you purpose, you know, and a man needs purpose, you know, and well, people need purpose, not just a man, not men, women. We need something to do. We need a purpose in life. And when you have children, of course, there it is. That's a game changer right there. And you've got to provide for that kid. You got to try and give them the best life possible. And it's not really about you anymore. And I think that's his point. But he just came across it because I saw that like World Star Hip Hop and stuff shared it and all the rest of it. And he was doing the rounds on social media. So I had to look at the comment section, and the comment section were all arguing like crazy, you know. And they were like, everyone's talking. Oh, yeah. Oh, no, exactly. It's polarizing. You know what I mean? Everyone's like, oh, men, this is why men's suicide rates are through the roof and stuff like that, because of this antiquated view that men aren't supposed to be happy. We are supposed to be happy. We are allowed happiness. I'm a very happy man. You know what I mean? Yeah, other than the absolute agonizing neck pain and adjusting my contact lens every 5 seconds because I can't get a decent contact lens fitted properly that stays still because my one eye is a weird shape. Other than that, I'm tickety-boo, Tyrone, right? But I am, though. But again, it's easy when you've had a decent career, when you've got a wife and you've got children, there's some people that are lost souls in the world. And for them, it's life's a very different matter.
But it's like, I don't know, anytime I see somebody in Twitter comments or Reddit threads talking about stuff like that, about, why men are so depressed and how men have it so hard, and this like He-Man woman haters club kind of vibe that I get from it, like my first thought is, how much money have you personally given to one of the Tate brothers? You know what I mean? Like, that's the only thing that registers with me. It's like, you've fallen into some other kind of Ponzi scheme, dude.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is that this whole thing about men, it's frowned upon to be masculine these days, which is just ridiculous. The world needs masculine people. Simple as that, and I always, because they talk about the pay gap and stuff like that. And yeah, all right, maybe there is a bit of a pay gap, but it's not as pronounced as what people think. It's not, certainly in this generation, right? But it's when you look at the jobs that people are doing, men do the dangerous jobs. Men do a lot of the more stressful jobs. Men at a higher percentage than women go off and aspire to become CEOs, to want to be a leader, to want to start a company and all the rest of it. And there is women that do that as well. But a lot of women like Rebecca, their dream is to be a mother and a housewife, right? Men have those, they want to be a husband and a father, of course, but a lot of men want a successful career as well. So that kind of sways the balance. And of course, we've got people in the army, in the Marines, doing dangerous jobs on oil rigs and at the top of skyscrapers, building them and stuff like that. So they're getting paid danger money, and they don't factor all that stuff into the equation. I'm not quite sure how we got onto the pay gap here, but men are allowed to be happy. Okay. Simple as that. Hamilton, something intelligent to say?
Well, I was going to say, every single disaster worker you see who's running down to Florida and North Carolina right now, who are working in rubble, possibly toxic and very dangerous conditions, there's massive hazard pay that comes with that. And that's all men, there are busloads of men that are heading down to those states right now to do that work.
I know some
women
big
as
old
well.
lady
Just like to keep it PC. Go on.
I said I know some big old lady linesmen.
All right, fair enough. But for the most part,
yeah.
I think that's like, where you were getting to with that.
It was where I was getting with that. Anyway, should we get back to some mixed martial arts stuff? Should we talk about who suggested this, the 4-man tournament?
I don't know who suggested it, but I have.
Because I saw Dana was asked about it at the presser after the Contender Series. Dustin Poirier suggested, I think it was Dustin, off the top of my head, suggested Holloway, Gagey, Dan Hooker,
Dustin Poirier.
Yeah, Dustin Poirier as a 4-man tournament for the BMF. And Dana was like, I'd never thought about it, but that sounds pretty good. And I'll tell you what, that does sound pretty good. You know what sounds even better? Do it old school. Do it on the same night. Yeah,
buddy.
That'd be sick.
What's more BMF?
Yeah. 2 fight. Oh my God. Could you imagine? Because that's how they used to do the UFC back in the day. 8-man tournament. Okay. And Athletic Commission sanctioned it up until a certain point. I don't know if they did or they didn't actually. They had to
That's
do
what
it
I'm saying. Could you get a commission today to sign off on something like that? Or would you do it
in Saudi Arabia?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
They could do it in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
They could do it in a lot of countries, and it's international. Sign me up. You made that one night, a 4-man tournament, and you put a nice undercard with it as well.
How would you stack it? Would you make it like the first 2 fights of a pay-per-view card?
Josh draws.
No, you'd have to, maybe like, because
or do you put them on the prelims to get people hyped to buy the pay-per-view for the main event?
You do a 6-fight main card. The first 2 fights, or even 5 fight. You have the first 2 fights of the opening round of the 4-man bracket. Obviously, the winners fight each other. Then you can have 2 fights in between, a call main event, and then the main event is them two, whoever won it. Do you know what I mean? They've got plenty of time. I mean, back in martial art tournaments, like I used to do knockdown sport budo, which was like an early form of mixed martial arts, but we didn't wear gloves, but there was no headshots. Other than that, it was MMA. There's videos of me online doing it as a young kid. Yeah. I boot a guy in the stomach as he comes in to like shake my hand or whatever. The referee had said fight.
He says go, you go.
And we had like 4 or 5 fights a night. And back in the day, there was that tournament style. There was somebody on the Contender the other night that had 3 fights in one night. You know what I mean? So you can do that. You might be a little bit banged up or whatever, but people love to throw that term around. Oh, I'd beat them all in one night. Well, let's do it.
Let's see
in one goddamn night. No. So you have the 2 opening fights. That's 2 fights. Then you have another fight. Then you have the semi-final. Then you have the final. And there's your 5 fight.
No, if it's a 4-man tournament, the first 2 fights are the semifinal.
Yeah, but then you have the losers fight each other.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
really?
Maybe could do. So then you've got a 1, 2, 3, 4.
Put a title fight in the middle of the card so it's extra long. Give the guys in who lost.
The main event of the final fight in the 4-man tournament is the main event of the night. That would do ridiculous numbers. Tell me people don't want to see that.
Yeah, I mean, it's what people have been clamoring for 20 years at this point now.
God.
How many times have you heard people asking to bring the Grand Prix back? I thought if they were ever going to do it, it was going to be the time where you were at the very top of the middleweight division when you had Weidman and Rockhold and you and Robert Whittaker was there. Yoel Romero was like, there was so much talent at the top and no clear. Yeah, right. This was right before Gegard left for Bellator.
Jacare
so it's like
Souza.
Jacare was
the list goes on. It was a very, very tough time to be a middleweight. So
you could have done a year-long 8-man Grand Prix tournament with the New Year's Eve card being for the the vacant middleweight title, and they decided not to. That I thought was the best option they ever had for it. But this BMF 2 fights 1 night, let's go.
Yeah, 2 fights 1 night, let's go. You know who's not into it? Nate Diaz. What did he say? Get those other 2 nerds out of there. So who were the nerds? Because I can't remember off the top of my head.
He said Dan and Max are cool, but get those other 2 nerds, meaning Justin and Dustin, out of there. I mean, it's weird for a guy who lost a BMF fight to hate on the only other 2 guys to lose a BMF fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I know, because he still refers to it as his belt. In the tweet, he referred to it as his belt. I'm not hating on Nate Diaz, but if we want to get technical on it, you were never a holder of the BMF. I think he did come up with the idea, though, right?
They made it kind of for him, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm fighting for the baddest motherfucker belt. You can come get it.
Yeah, no, it was good. Calling them nerds. Justin and Dustin. But that's the best way. If Poirier isn't going to stick around much longer, put him in a tournament. Dan Hooker went 5 rounds with Poirier already. He can hang for sure. We know Max can just be Gagey. Jesus Christ. Think of the action on that.
I mean, from a selfish point of view, I think I only have 1 Dustin Poirier fight left in my life. If you give me that, there's a good chance I'm getting 2.
Well, and the thing is as well that makes it really interesting is when you have multiple fights in one night, you take your approach into account for winning the first one. You want to get it done quick. You don't want a 5-round war, a 3-round war, right? Because you're going to be beat up in the next fight. So it's like, okay, I'm going to go hard as hell in this first round. And I want to get him down. I want to choke him out. I want to knock him out, whatever the case may be. You have to change your strategy. You know what I mean? You're not looking out there for a 5-round fist fight, or a 3-round fist fight. You don't want it to go to the judges. You want to get a finish. So you're almost guaranteed excitement as well.
Yeah, and I'm just wondering how, you've done it, multiple fights in the same night. So it's like, how do you deal with that, adrenaline dump, that feeling of you got over the hill, you won your fight. Now I got to get right back into, all right, I got to go fight this guy.
Well, it was never at the level of the UFC. I'm sure that's a little bit different, but you finish the fight, you walk out straight away. I don't know what I would advise, something to keep your body warm, some kind of sauna tracksuit or something. Stay warm, stay loose, rehydrate, plenty of electrolytes, maybe some carb drinks or whatever, and just stay loose and just keep it going, baby, because you're going back out there again. That'd be some legendary shit.
Mental.
Could you imagine, let's just say Max Holloway is the winner, right? Max Holloway goes out there, beats Dustin Poirier in the first one, and then comes back for the final. Could you imagine the crowd? He's back, man.
Dude, that point though, in the last 5 seconds of the 5th round, that might be the most legendary point you could make.
Yeah, I'm surprised Conor hasn't piped up on this one.
you keep thinking of the names because like Dan Ige 100% could be in something like that. Guy showed up for a fight. They
gotta start doing this in every bloody division.
Yeah,
but they could do it right now. Hamzat and Whittaker are already lined up, but it doesn't even need to be the belt. The champion of the division. You can keep the champion of the division as the champ, right? They don't need to do that. They don't need to partake. They've earned the right to sit on their lofty throne, and looking down at everyone. They'll let these little peasants fight for the BMF of each division, and they have a 4-man tournament. Oh, dude, and whoever wins that, you get guaranteed a title fight. Shit, man.
Congratulations. You just created Bellator.
Or the PFL. Jesus Christ. Yeah. No, it's great though, you prick. Oh, by the way, everyone, No-Man Alive. The merch store is now available. It should be connected to this channel as well, down below, on my regular YouTube channel as well. But if you want to do it old school, no-manalive.com. There it is. Show your support. No Man Alive should not buy a bloody t-shirt or a hoodie. All right. And I'm sending you guys some. I'm just waiting for them to send it, but you're going to be inundated with No Man merch. Anyway, what's going on, Harrington?
Dude, I'm excited. This is awesome stuff. What's
the fabrics, the fit, the quality? It's next level, but it really is. It really is. Sounds like a sales pitch, and it kind of is. But I made sure we went back and forth several times. I said, I can't sell this crap. You know what I mean? The first couple, you held them up. They were like see-through. I'm like, no, they've got to be good fabrics. They can't shrink after one wash. They can't fade and all the rest of it because nobody wants that crap. So rest assured, the quality is very, very high. Anyway, Harrington, give me a story.
Okay, so check this out. John Jones was getting some wrestling training in with one of probably the most qualified guys to be doing so, Gable Steveson. I know he was training with the Buffalo Bills for a while, didn't get on with them, but he found a home training with John Jones, except as you can see in the video Brian's about to play, they're doing just some basic MMA spars, just some back light touching work, and John Jones said his instincts kicked in when Gable went for the single leg.
Yeah.
That's dangerous for Stipe.
He's an Olympic champion wrestler, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, exactly.
He connects with that. Here, I'm going to put the audio.
Does he? Let's have a look.
It's pretty ruthless.
I didn't think it connected because hold on.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, yeah, well, because he does. If you keep it playing there at the end, but you did hear a little connection. He's not going hard, though.
No.
Shit like that happens, but fair play. Go on.
Just thinking about a heavyweight who can do that, though, right? Who has that kind of, ability, range of motion, that kind of dynamic striking style like that. Honestly, you got to assume Stipe at one point is going to go for a single leg that's very similar to that, and he's not used to heavyweights jumping up and hitting him with flying knees.
We can't sit here and start glazing John Jones. You know what I mean? We can't. If you do that, it's an unpopular take these days, which is just wild. But you're right, because watch John Wayne. I saw a picture. The transformation has been quick because it wasn't that long ago, let's say, when Tom Aspinall approached him and he put the arm on him and all the rest of it. He looked a little out of shape. And then he was at that nightclub with the comedian and he was hammered and he didn't look good. I saw a picture of him on Twitter last week with his shirt off, giving it a flex, ripped, abs, looking absolutely gigantic. And that was a recent video. Still got the athleticism, still got the dynamic, still got the explosion and all the rest of it. Yeah. It's going to be good. It's going to be good having John back. It really is. And against Stipe as well. I think Anthony's, he's going on a cruise on Monday, but he's going to be doing a bit of training with Stipe, isn't he?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think he gets out there for work with Stipe like at least once or twice a year.
Yeah.
And especially with this fight coming up, there's no way he's not going to get out there.
Well, he's getting out there. Do you think he's getting out of Florida on a cruise?
Oh, that's right. He's going from Florida. He doesn't. When does he leave?
On Monday. I think he'll be all right. I think he's past it all.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Anthony won't be on Monday's show, but don't worry. We'll get Paul Felder. We'll get Laura Sanko. We'll get somebody. Harrington, you'll be around as well. Don't you worry, buddy. Yeah, John Jones, it's going to be good. Can't wait for it. I'll be there in New York. I know we say this all the time, but we're going to do a live show. Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe. Anyway, what else is going on? What else is going on?
What else is going on? Jamal Hill cleared up his thoughts, right? You remember he had that back and forth with Pereira. He was like covering his mouth at the end of the fight. He said, look, it was a back and forth entertaining fight, but I was yawning because I wasn't impressed with Alex Pereira. Like, I didn't walk away from that thinking this guy's some kind of world beater. He said, I'm happy that he beat Khalil because I want the legend of Alex Pereira to grow so that you guys think the absolute most of him when I get to rematch him and finally get that win back. He said, I don't care if he doesn't have the title. I will take that fight over a title fight because I need to get that win back and show you guys I'm better than him.
Well, first off, it was a very entertaining fight and it was a very impressive performance. But, you know, Jamal's looking at it from a emotional standpoint, you know, which I understand as well. You know, fighters don't always see it as clearly when they're so involved, when you're so close to the situation, which of course he's not now because he's not the champ, but still, you know, that loss and losing his title, it's still obviously bothering him in the way that it did because, you know, when you're a guy like Jamal or a guy like me and you get beaten like that, you take it personally and you're a little bit embarrassed. So then it brings up a defensiveness to you, to your general aura and your attitude. So that's why he's reacting like that. But he's got to go and win a fight. He ain't going to get a fight with Pereira sitting around. You know, if he sits around, Artem Vakhitov that just won on the contender might get a shot before Jamal. Jamal's going to get active. He's going to get out there and get fighting.
Yeah, well, I mean, I know that one guy who is interested, and this certainly would keep him pretty close to the title picture, is Khalil Roundtree. He was talking, I can't remember who the interview was with, but he said, you know, anybody in the top 5 works for me, you know, coming off of the title loss. But he said a fight with Jamal Hill pretty much feels inevitable at this point.
And again, gangster move. Gangster. I mean, how can you not be a fan of Khalil? He just, did you see the video of him getting the what is it, a rhinoplasty? Getting
I think he called it sinoplasty.
Sinoplasty, rhinoplasty. We ain't going to get technical around there. No one would have corrected me, Harrington.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
He said it was the most painful surgery he's ever
what a
gone
prick.
through.
What a prick. Yeah, no, it does. It sucks. I've had one myself. They took my ribs and rebuilt my nose. Probably even worse than what he had. And that hurt like a bitch. By the way, I've still got a deviated septum. So he didn't do the best job, although my nose is straight. But Khalil wanted to fight again straight away. By the way, already doing podcasts, which again, that is like, it's impressive mentally to say, yeah, I'll go out there. I'll do a podcast, you know, so I'll reach out, see if we can get him on next week. Because
that's incredible.
The fact, I never like to, you know, hit someone up for an interview when they've lost, but he seems more than open to doing that. And the fact he wants to get back in there and get somebody as tough as Jamal Hill straight away. I mean, that is an impressive mindset.
One guy who has fought both of them, Alex Pereira, says that if that fight does materialize, Jamal will not be able to handle Khalil.
Jamal will not be able to handle Khalil. I mean, he's beaten them both. So he can say more than me. Yeah, I'm not going to disagree with the guy. Give me a non-MMA story. Then we got a couple of questions at the end. BYM pod, if you want to send the question in. No dash man alive, if you want to buy some merch. Herring Bone on Twitter. What is it? DM Harrington.
Ben right? Harrington. Yes, sir.
And B McKay is right. If you want to give the lads a follow, come on, let's go. What else have we got?
So I think this one was kind of interesting. Just people using bureaucracy against the government. So there's a new law in England that says that people who own between 1 and 50 chickens.
Hold on. Why is it always the stuff in England?
Oh, because it's stuff that I assume would interest you.
Right.
Down in English politics these days.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of shit going on everywhere. Let's be honest.
I'm not
you're honing in on my country there, bro.
So they've made it a law where you have to register if you own 1 to 50 chickens, right? So people, I guess because they don't like the government knowing all about how many chickens they have, they don't want the government counting their chickens. Everyone going to Tesco and getting one of the takeaway rotisserie chickens have started going online and registering that as a chicken that they own, so much so that the government website that was supposed to be tracking this has now crashed.
That is brilliant. Don't tell me the British haven't got a sense of humor. That is incredible. Fantastic. Oh, yeah, we're going to register our chickens? Perfect. Because first of all, what a stupid move, right? What a look, we have a HOA, Housing Association, where I live, and it pisses me off. They are bloody Nazis. They breathe down your neck. And, you know, we got a fine because when we had the house painted, it was the wrong color, you know, or it didn't fall within their scheme. Oh, no, we didn't ask for permission. So we got a $500 fine, you know, the pricks. And if we want chickens, we've got to ask them. You know, we've got to let them know and all the rest of it. But I guess that's because of the neighbors and all the rest of it. But you got to register with the government if you want to have one chicken in England. I mean, what's the justification in that?
I don't know. I know I sent something to Brian myself on my own little like weird Twitter rabbit holes, but something about the WEF is saying that people having their own like sustainable like farming setup, so like growing your own crops, having your own livestock.
It'll kill the egg industry.
No, they said it's leading to more global warming.
You will.
Shut up. Hold on.
That's a
People
real
having
thing.
their own chickens is increasing global warming. As opposed, if we listen to all the narratives, as opposed to getting in a car, starting the engine, driving down there, buying the eggs that are in a carton that then get put in a plastic bag, then you get back in the car and you drive back home, right? But having a chicken go and popping a little egg out is worse for global warming. What a load of shit.
It's weird that all the people in charge that say global warming is a huge problem are propping up the private jet industry. That just seems like a weird thing to me.
Yeah. No. But I saw a thing on Instagram recently where it said, and again, Instagram, can't believe it. But some of it is like factual stuff. Because if you get what I do, if I see something on Instagram and I think that's really interesting, then I'll do a bit of investigation. You know, I'll give it a quick Google or whatever. And if there's other outlets that kind of support that or whatever, then, you know, it's not somebody just talking out of their goddamn ass for the sake of it. Yeah. And they were saying that if most Americans had their own chickens, then obviously there'd be no need for the egg industry anymore. And it'd be the same in the UK. And I don't know what my angle is there, but maybe they don't. They're trying to keep the egg industry going. You know, they don't want people having chickens.
You mean they're trying to keep the farmers afloat, the people that they've been subsidizing with tax dollars since the 1930s? Weird.
Probably
weird that they're doing everything they can to keep the airplane and food industry regulated by the government entirely.
Well, you know, I'm not mad about airplane regulations sometimes, you know?
Yeah. Did I talk about that? I didn't see any fat people in Paris. Did we talk about that on Monday's show?
Yeah, you did.
We did. I don't know.
The start of the show.
Yeah, right. I mean, there's no fat people.
You've seen on social media of Americans taking tours in Europe and just being like, everybody treats me like shit because I'm a fat pig and I don't understand why. I mean, that's not what, you know, that's the paraphrase.
Yeah, of course. But we talked about it, so it doesn't matter. Have we got one more for the road before we get a couple of questions?
One more for the road.
If not, don't worry about it.
Oh, well, I mean, I don't know. There was one like piece of good news, I guess, or a, you know, heartwarming story that came out of this Hurricane Milton saga. I don't know if you've seen the story of Lieutenant Dan.
I did. And Lieutenant Dan, I was like, hold on, is that the actor? Is the actual actor from Forrest Gump? No, it's a guy that lives on a boat. So they called him Lieutenant Dan. They told him not to stay in his boat through the hurricane. He did stay in the boat. He survived, but now apparently he's died of a heart attack.
Oh, what?
I saw on one social media post that he survived, but now he's died of a heart attack. I don't know. You don't know what to believe.
Oh, but anyway, my God.
I got 4 hours to go. Lieutenant Dan is safe here on my time.
Oh, my God.
So.
All right. I don't know.
The heartwarming part.
Just something about that guy's story really, really struck a chord with me. The idea of somebody going from being homeless, scrapping together whatever they could to get this boat, and then facing the adversity of like, all right, if I leave this boat to evacuate like they're telling me to, I might come back to having absolutely nothing. And I would rather take my chances in the storm than, you know, be in this world alone again. And for him to have survived that, I don't know, just a little bit of like nice, touching human spirit in a rough week.
Yeah, well, I see. I never knew the backstory of who this guy was. I just saw it on my feed as I was scrolling through, and I didn't give it any attention. So I didn't know that he was a homeless dude that scraped up enough money for a boat, and now it kind of makes sense why he didn't want to abandon it, because A, he doesn't have a house that he can go to because that's the only accommodation that he has, and that's his life, and that's everything. And he's like, well, if this is what it is, if this is the way that I'm meant to go out, then this is the way that I'm destined to go out. Yeah, and he didn't. So that's fantastic. That's well done to him. Well done to you. And well done to you guys that sent in a question. bynpod@gmail.com. Brian, well done to you as well.
I try. Thank you. We're going to go to first question here is from Joe Cirillo.
What's up, boys? Well, the podcast, Harrington, fuck you. This is a good question. This is a good one, I think. They say it's the shots you don't see coming that hurt you, right? You see fighters, they don't see the shot coming, they get knocked out. I have a little bit of amateur boxing experience, and sure, like anytime I've been hurt, it's been a shot I don't see coming, right? A body shot you don't see or something. So my question is, if you see all the shots coming, are you all right? Like, do fighters ever see shots coming and they just get flattened?
It's a good question. It's a good point. That's the shot you don't see coming that gets you. I can't remember. I've had a lot of fights. Pre-UFC, pre-MMA, non-martial arts, street fights, boxing, kickboxing, you name it. I've had a lot of fights. I never, ever, ever recall a single time where I've seen a punch coming and it's connected. You know what I mean? You just don't see it. If it's coming, yeah. I mean, I've seen punches come and you think it's not going to hit. That's what I'm saying. You know, and you'd be it's still got you. You know, I've never experienced one time where I'm like, that's going to get me, because it's all split second stuff like that. But the expression is when you really, really don't see it. Like if you've got one eye and George St. Pierre hits you with the left hook, you don't see that one coming for damn sure.
I feel like Eddie Wineland was staring straight down the barrel when he got fucking knocked out.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, it's a funny question though. I like it. Rebecca, come here. She was telling a story before Cory Sandhagen came. What were we talking about?
The fire in the dryer.
Oh yeah, we did. We had a bloody fire. So anyway, I was saying before Sandhagen came, you got to get those. What are they called back? You got to get your dry vents checked out. Ours was backed up with lint and 2 birds' nests in there. The little bastards. It was a fire hazard, and there was a fire in there. So make sure you do it. Come on, grab up a chair.
I found that out the same way in my early 20s. Yeah, I was living in a 3-family house, and there was just a bunch of dryers downstairs. And I went downstairs one day.
Hold on, Harrington. No, we're riding solo. Where you been?
Where have I been?
Yeah.
Well, supermarket. Where do I ever go?
Go on. So you were telling before you interrupted Cory Sandhagen's exclusive interview.
He interrupted me.
Yeah.
We had a fire actually in our dryer. So thankfully it didn't come out of the dryer, because the whole house actually could have gone up in flames. And apparently it's very, very common. So I don't know why they don't kind of preach this more. Like, you have to get your dryer vents cleaned every 5 years, but they should, because it's such a hazard. Like, why is no one telling us this?
This is the MMA news that you came for.
Well, I mean, do you have a dedicated HVAC guy? Like, I know you guys have central air, so
but
you must have
HVAC. It's not HVAC. It's my dryer. It's like a completely separate thing.
You just got to go in there and dig it out.
Yeah, but ours is a long one, obviously, because we've got like a large house. So it goes from.
Oh, don't stop it, you dickhead! You dickhead!
Michael, it's a big house, so it's a longer vent.
Yeah. So it's God.
Everything's bigger in California.
I'm sorry. I am. No,
it's a half mansion by definition.
Yeah. The shout out, Lewis.
So anyway, like if it's a short one, you can just like a broomstick. But ours in particular was very complicated because it goes around bends.
Oh, God.
It
needs a special tool.
I was going to say, could you?
There's a lot of innuendo here. The long ones aren't good. The short ones are bad. Long ones are better. Needs a special tool. I know.
It's you. It's not me. I'm just...
Could you like just take the thing off and put a leaf blower in there and just force it out that way?
I mean,
you just start a fire like that.
I don't know. I feel like you need a professional. Well, that's what they say, of course. But yeah.
Well, hold on. Stop.
Right.
Well, thank you, darling.
You're welcome.
We got one more question to do on the show. In fact, do you want to hear the question? Come on, sit down for the question.
It's a charity challenge.
It's not. It's a charity challenge.
We could use all the help we can get.
Oh, we got to do a bloody, what's it called again? Something like the one chip.
Oh, God, please, no.
No, because Rebecca
that was delicious. I actually enjoyed it.
It was terrible. It was terrible. All right, Brian, what have we got?
All right, this one's from Michael Ruddle. He sent in a charity challenge. He's the guy who usually sends the charity challenge.
Hey everyone, this is my first charity challenge of 2024. The year's been rough, thank you inflation, but I'm back with a brain teaser for you. I already know that you can name all 11 of the current undisputed champs in the UFC, but here's the twist. Can you name the fighter each of them beat to become undisputed champ? Interim champs don't count, but if they did, you'd say Tom Aspinall beat Sergey Pavlovich to become the champ, even though he's already had a defense against Curtis Blades. Understand the rules? Here's the deal. $10 per correct answer, but if you get all of them in 90 seconds or less, I will quadruple the donation to Action Against Hunger USA, based in New York City. Ready? Go.
Okay, heavyweight, John Jones, and he beat Cyril Gane. Light heavyweight is Alex Pereira, and he beat, it was a vacant title. Oh, no, it was Jamal Hill. Middleweight.
No, wasn't it Yuri?
Well, he beat Yuri to become the champion. Wasn't it a vacant belt? It was.
Yeah, that was the belt was vacated, so he became undisputed when he beat Yuri.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There wasn't somebody to beat, but yeah. Dricus beat Izzy, welterweight. Who's the welterweight?
He beat Strickland.
No.
DDP
Dricus
beat Strickland for the title.
DDP beat
Strickland for the title.
He just beat Izzy last time out.
Yeah, but that was to defend it, to win the title.
I'm just thinking of the last five. Oh, God's sake. All right. Welterweight is Bilal beat Leon. Lightweight, Islam took the belt.
From Charlie Olives.
We got 10 seconds.
Well, hold on. Shut the up then. Featherweight, Topuria didn't take it from Volkanovski.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, he did. That's what I said. Bantamweight, Marab took it from Sean. Flyweight, Pantoja took it from Moreno.
I think that's correct.
And there's women out there as well. So,
yeah.
Yeah. There's women.
Oh, well, we just had one.
Hold on. Who's the strawweight champ? Zhang Weili took it off Rose Namajunas.
She took it
Zhang
off Carla.
Weili took it off Carla Esparza. That's what I said. It was right on the tip of my tongue, 125 champ. Valentina Shevchenko took it off Alexa Grasso at the Sphere. And then bantamweight. Don't say it. But Pena took it off Pennington.
Woo! That's all of them.
Got it all.
You got them all.
That was kind of painful.
No.
Do you know what's painful?
You should have had better knowledge on that, like instantly.
I'll tell you what's painful, talking about Pena and Pennington, right? When I was doing talking about that, I kept getting them mixed up.
Oh, really? Okay.
Juliana Pena and Pennington and Pennington and Pena. I was like, Jesus Christ, I kept getting them wrong.
When you were commentating?
No, I didn't commentate that fight. When I was working on TNT Sports and I did a little YouTube video.
It's very bad.
Tell everyone to go to no-manalive.com, babe.
Go to nomanalive.com.
No-manalive.com.
No
Man Alive should get the bloody website wrong.
No-nomanalive.com.
Yeah.
Why
Whoa.
like that?
What?
You're an Australian? You're an Australian who can say no?
No.
Okay, there it is.
No.
Oh,
I'm Australian, but I'm very kind of,
well, it's
all over the place.
It's the end of the show.
No Man Alive. Should rip that from my
Guys, thanks for watching. We will be back on Monday.